Now, SkyCal is looking at this fire. We have seen the fire burning primarily up this ridge line, which you're looking at right here. But we do know that it is very near homes at this point as the fire continues to burn. It is very hot out there. Obviously, that is a very big issue at this moment. We do have voluntary evacuations in place right now for this region. This is the area near Bowman High School, kind of in between Soledad Canyon Road and Golden Valley Road. That is where the voluntary evacuations are in place at this point. So there's a neighborhood in there off Center Point Parkway, Carl Boyer Drive, that area. You're looking at some of that right now where you see these homes, these subdivisions here as well. You see people racing out of their car, running in to try to get some of their belongings and get out of here as those flames inch closer to these neighborhoods. And again, this is in the Santa Clarita area. This fire first reported by the Los Angeles County Fire Department some time ago now. It has been burning since about 1:40 this afternoon. I can tell you they have it as a 2-alarm fire. Started off on the 21,300 block of Center Point Parkway. That is where this initiated. And as we've said, as SkyCal zooms out, you can see kind of the charred remains there of the hillside and just how close it has gotten to some of those homes. Now, in size, this fire is not terribly large at this point, but the issue is the proximity there to the homes and how close it is to some of these homes. You see the engine from engine 73 there from LA County Fire doing some structure protection. We saw a moment ago when those homeowners came back and residents there came back to race inside to try to get some of their belongings. And again, at this point, this is a voluntary evacuation zone that is happening. And that voluntary evacuation zone stretches basically from Bouquet Canyon Road at Soledad Canyon Road all the way to the west to Golden Valley Road. It's a lot of communities in between there that are currently under that voluntary evacuation order. Again, there is a large aerial fight happening in the sky right now with these water dropping helicopters from the Los Angeles County Fire Department. We've got 2 of the Firehawks that are dropping water, as well as the Chinook that is capable of carrying a lot of water to be able to get in there and do what they need to do to try to get a handle on some of these situations here. So at this point, firefighters are working. We know that the weather is not moving in their favor. The only thing is that it is a bit humid out there, which is good, but still those hot temperatures are certainly problematic. As you can see, some of these flames still pretty intense as it approaches the ridgeline. Now, the good news is when you look at the other end of the ridgeline there is not a ton of homes on the other side that this would really kind of run into. It would have to make a pretty good run to get to homes on the backside of the hillside. So hopefully as it kind of reaches the ridge here, it'll stop burning. There is the other portion of this as the chopper kind of moves around. You can see it has made some distance from where it was burning. And I believe that's Soledad Canyon right under the smoke there. So certainly the people in the neighborhoods across the street are obviously seeing this. There's a lot of smoke that is kind of laying down right on those neighborhoods that are in that area. So again, voluntary evacuations are in place at this point. Nothing mandatory just yet. This fire has been burning for about an hour and a half now. 1:40 was the initial start time of this blaze that the LA County Fire had it reported to them. And I'm looking on the radar here to see if they're getting any more assists from any other aerial assets that are coming. And at this point, I don't see any on the radar, certainly, though that may change based on the needs. But they've got 3 helicopters that are working this fire right now. It is, again, this kind of low-lying vegetation, and it's not very we're not talking trees and things like that. It's some pretty low-lying vegetation at this point that is burning. It burns fast, but hopefully, puts itself out just as quickly. And there again, you see some of the charred hillsides, and there's one of the helicopters from Los Angeles County Fire Department that's been burning. Unclear, obviously, what the cause of this fire is. There's a lot of these kind of side roads that you see here that potentially could have had an impact point. Obviously, that'll be an investigation. Here comes the Chinook. The Chinook, obviously, as we've talked about, carries a ton of water. A nice drop there on that flank of the fire. Again, they're trying to keep it from spreading any further. You've got some natural fire breaks in this area because of all of these roads that we see in and out of there. So that certainly is helpful to the fire crews. At this point, the good news is we are seeing a lot more of the blackened hillside and less flames than when this fire first started. Again, we don't know exactly what the origin of the fire was, where it started, but you see just how very, very close it has gotten to some of these homes at the bottom of the screen there, or the top of the screen rather. You can see it burned right up into the backyard of that location where all of this is. Amy Johnson joining me now here at the desk. Amy, there's those voluntary evacuations, but fire crews look like they're getting a decent handle on it.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, we saw a lot of flames just a short time ago, and these water drops are really making a huge difference. But you can only imagine the fear and the people that live in those homes that are so close to where these flames were burning. And certainly a really, really fast action on this fire, because it started not that long ago. Mike, did you say 1:45?
Yeah, 1:40 was the initial dispatch time.
Yeah, so this is, I mean, they're making really quick work on this, because we know this is the hottest day of the week. Hot out there, and they're dealing with a lot of conditions here, but they have really jumped on this one, and it's really great to see how quickly those flames have been put out. We still see some smoke out there, but nothing like what we were seeing just moments ago.
Yeah, just moments ago. It's looking a lot better, Amy, as this continues. And, you know, I'm a little surprised there haven't been mandatory evacuations, just given how close to some of those homes this has been. But, you know, obviously they've done a really good job of trying to get that to stay away from these homes, and they've been working on it. And, you know, defensible space is a very big deal, and you can see some of these homes had some decent defensible space that prevented this from getting any kind of closer to where they're at. So that's the really good news here. And they've been able to keep that away from homes at this point. We haven't heard of any injuries either, Amy, at this point. So that's also good news as the LA County Fire is working to get this all under control.
Well, and you can certainly tell that they really targeted the flames that were closest to those homes, you know, and that's where they really put those resources right away. And this part of the fire was, you know, one of the farther areas from the homes. And we know that fires tend to race up a hill, and it is up near the top of that ridge there. So on the other side there, you see some green space that we just kind of went by. Do you know what that is, Mike? What that area was?
Yeah, I've been kind of looking at this on a map a little bit, Amy, and it looks like it's just kind of open space. I know that there is, hang on, I'm going back to the map here a little bit. There is just some kind of mountainous area. I know there's a sports complex kind of in the area as well, but the Whitaker Burmite site is what I'm seeing on the map. So it just may just be some open space that is kind of back in that area. But, you know, and we're going to forgive us. We're going to, I think, lose our helicopter picture. This one's got to go get fuel. So we're going to work on getting our other one up here in just a second. But there is, you know, that firefight is continuing there on the ground, Amy, as they work to kind of get this under control.
That's right. And for people that are just joining us for this breaking news, this is a fire that broke out in Santa Clarita right around 1:40 this afternoon. There are voluntary evacuations that have been issued, but at this point, no mandatory evacuations. Right. The fire was very close to those homes, but has really been, you know, pushed back by firefighters that were making those water drops very quickly. And we can still see a lot of white smoke out there. But of course, we are going to try to give you as much as we can right now, as we see that the helicopter is leaving this area, and we will be having another helicopter up. Is it up now?
It is, yeah. I want to ask Vinny if we can switch to the other. There we go. So this is our other helicopter that's getting into place here. And in just a second, too, Amy, I'm going to send the control room some video that we can look at from the ground where all of this, you know, kind of originated in. And it really proves the point of just how close these flames have gotten to some of these homes, and how great of a job the Los Angeles County Fire Department has done in protecting those homes. So that video is going to come online here in just a second. We'll show it to you. But the SkyCal is getting kind of in place, and you can really see the smoke plume that is being put up as a result of this. So they're doing a good job of getting things under control. And again, Amy, at this point, there are no mandatory evacuations, though those voluntary evacuations are in place. And, you know, Amy, right as we came on the air, too, we saw people racing back to their homes. We saw 3 or 4 people jump out of a car, run inside, and try to gather their belongings. And it's, you know, it's comforting that they're getting a good handle on it. But no matter how good of a handle on it is, any flames that are behind your home is never comforting. And I want to ask Vinny if we can show that video really quickly, and we'll show you just kind of how close those flames have gotten to this area in these homes, and why that was such a concern for people for a period of time. As you can see there's another LA County Fire helicopter that's in there doing some water drops. There you go, right side of the screen. I mean, look at that, Amy. Those flames were right behind those homes. Thanks, Vin, for grabbing that. LA County Engine 73 up there trying to put water on it very quickly. So they had to do very quick work to prevent the flames from getting any closer to those homes.
Yeah, and they really, I mean, this is a true, I mean, just seeing how big this fire was and so close to these homes. And now we're just seeing white smoke in this area, because they really were able to get a handle on this portion of the fire very quickly. We know that it is not out. There are more flames that are a little farther up the ridge here, but certainly they planned this very well to get to the flames closest to the homes. And we see in this video, you see law enforcement going through the community, although it did look like he was talking on the speaker there, but you've been hearing that it was voluntary evacuations and not mandatory. But, you know, you also saw people going back to their homes. And, you know, big thing is a lot of people are at work at, you know, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This actually started at 1:40. So when you find out something like this, you know, you're trying to get home, you're trying to get to those pets that you left behind, most likely in the house because of the heat. Again, the hottest day, not just of the week, but actually of the year is what we were talking about earlier. And so, you know, folks, here we see some people with their dogs. They want to, you know, get their pets that have been in the house for the day and get whatever belongings they can and get that out and get everyone to safety. But we're watching this now. Mike is live. This is another drop that's about to happen.
Yeah, another drop, and it looks like a second Chinook is coming out of Foxfield and Lancaster too soon. So you'll have 4 water dropping helicopters on this. Unofficially, Amy, we're looking at about 30 acres right now. That was some of the latest information that we got, 30 to 33 acres. Which seems about right. I mean, this fire is kind of burned in a long stretch. There's Helitanker 5.5 that is going to look for another spot to do a drop. But, you know, the good news, again, Amy, we're looking at a lot of charred hillside and not a lot of fire at this point, which is good. And as, you know, Oliver and SkyCal is kind of getting positioned, you're going to be able to see that the side where there are homes is pretty much managed at this point. Now, I do see, Oliver, can you put map tracker up? I want to see, is that Soledad Canyon Road there on the left? We'll ask him to look at that because I did see some law enforcement that appeared. Oh, there's Oliver. Hi, Oliver. did see some. Thanks, Ollie. Yeah, that was Soledad Canyon. Okay, so yeah, it looked like law enforcement was actually holding traffic there on that roadway. So that's going to be a traffic impact for a little bit as well. Right there, just on that. Yeah, right there on the left, Ollie. And you can see the traffic backup actually already right there where they've got it kind of closed off. So that is, you know, going to be a pain for some people. Obviously, the primary focus, though, is going to be them getting the fire under control. I think people would rather be inconvenienced than, you know, obviously have homes burned down. So, but the fire department, we saw them using that road as access to try to get some of their crews and equipment up there and do the work that they need. But you still have some pretty decent flames running up that hillside, Amy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this fire is definitely not out at this point. They have made great progress. But when we look at the top of this ridge, we often talk about how fires race up the hillside. We see so much of that flame right now at the top of that hill, and it will move a little slower down the backside of that hill. But again, we're showing you on the right side of the screen that video from just a little earlier of that fire and how close it was to these homes. And really, those firefighters really got in there, got those flames knocked out that were right behind those homes. And you were showing us, Mike, that traffic, you know, so many people trying to make it home to get to those pets and get to their home and try to pack up some things. But are you still hearing that this is just a voluntary evacuation?
Yeah, you know, I'm looking at Genesis, which is the system that, you know, the county uses to issue those evacuations. And at this point, yes, it is still just voluntary. And I want to ask Oliver if we can work with our pilot to get the north side of the fire here, Ollie, because on the north side is where those homes are. So I'm curious to see how they're faring with the homes that are in the area. Last we checked, everything was kind of on the, you know, moving away from those homes, which is, of course, the good news. Right side of your screen is video from earlier where you can see just how close it did get to those homes and the subdivisions that are in that area. So County Fire has been doing a really incredible job of, you know, making sure that that is not an issue at this moment, but that is still something they're dealing with. So Ollie's going to, if we can, Oliver, work our way to the north side here and try to see, and let's listen to some radio traffic. Yeah, and they're mapping it at 33 acres right now.
33 acres. And joining us now also is Juan Fernandez, joining us for this breaking news fire coverage.
That's right. You know, I just came into the studio there, Amy, and you know, it's basically looking from SkyCal and looking at some of the ground shots earlier, it was kind of hard to tell how much active flame there was. And then when you do see SkyCal over here giving us these tighter shots, you can definitely see that these flames are still raging. They do have some air resources in the area as well, so that's good news. Question is, Mike, and how close to homes is it now?
So that's what we're working on.
Close?
Yeah, the homes are still close, but they're on the back side of this hill. And Oliver is working to get around to the other side. There's obviously a lot of air traffic up there, so we're
homes.
Trying to. Yeah, there's homes here, but then that's got Soledad Canyon as the break. It's on the north side of the fire, that north side of the hill. Where I'm just listening to some of the radio traffic. Right under the smoke there, Ollie, if you can just kind of push in, and right there under the smoke, there is homes back in there. So see those ones? those are the ones, it's hard to see through the smoke, but those were the ones that were the fire was extremely close to a little bit earlier. It's looking a little bit better. It looks like they were able to kind of bat them down and push the flames onto the other side of the hill. But that was the ones that they were really concerned about. That's where the voluntary evacuation is. And in fact, the homes that you're seeing in the red roofs here on the other side of the roadway, they are not under any kind of evacuation at all. Wow. Those are the homes on the north end of Soledad Canyon, the kind of Moveo Drive, Bramble Way, Briar Way. None of that is under evacuations. It's everything on the south side here. There's the Golden Triangle Road, Center Point Parkway. Some of that is all industrial, but then there is a small subdivision of homes that is in that area as well that was of concern when they first got here. And that was some of the video that we were showing you a bit earlier on your screen, where you saw the flames just very, very intensely close to some of those homes. Right
Michael,
side of your screen there.
When we had the wider shot there, here we go, the wider shot on the left side of your screen, it doesn't look like there's a lot to burn out there, right? Is that due to another fire, or is that just good brush clearance? Or?
Yeah, that's just kind of the vegetation that's in the area as well. I mean, it's a lot of that low lying. And then if you look too, there are a ton of roads, like back dirt roads back there that make for really nice fire breaks, right?
Right.
When you have this kind of low laying vegetation and you have all of those things, it's very helpful to stop a fire. I mean, there are, of course, circumstances where it can jump those dirt roads. Those dirt roads aren't very wide. But if you're dealing with better conditions, you're dealing with some of the lower lying vegetation, and you're not dealing with very intense winds, which it doesn't appear that we are, then those roads can act as kind of natural fire breaks, which can be very helpful for fire crews. So yes, to your point, I mean, and really, we're talking 33 acres. That's kind of the last mapping we got on this. And that is not, size-wise, that's not a very big fire, but it is the proximity to some of these homes and some of these businesses that has been the main concern here.
And it's so scary, based on what we've seen in the last, few months and years with these type of fires, and just how hot it is today, the conditions out there today, only making it ripe for these type of fires. And we still don't know, Mike, what caused this, right?
No, we don't. And Ollie, if you can pan in or zoom in and pan left, I want to show kind of where there's some charred hillside there to the left, where it looks like this kind of may have started, kind of in this area. All of this has already burned, and even there's a pocket in the the upper left corner of your screen, Oliver. There's a pocket of flames that is still kind of up there. So you see that in there. That appears to be kind of where this started. You see a hand crew there on the left-hand side that will probably try to go in there and chop some of that out.
Look at the crews there, Mike. You can see them.
Yes. So all of this has burned. Even further left, Ollie, right there, you see on that kind of hillside, you've got some more fire crews down there. And the bottom. So all of this has already burned.
Yeah. But when you look at, I mean, this hasn't even been going for a complete hour yet. We're just a few minutes shy of 1 hour of this fire starting. Yeah. And I mean, it really shows you, I mean, a lot burned, 30 plus acres. And firefighters really, really got the resources on the fire very quickly.
Very quickly.
They did. And there's a couple of, there's fire crews, whenever we have a fire, there's an automatic dispatch of helicopters. So that automatically goes out. That doesn't even require an engine to get on scene and say, hey, we should have some helicopters. If somebody calls 911 and says there's a brush fire burning, that is an automatic dispatch of helicopters, which is a very good way to operate a fire department, because you want to have those air resources on there as quickly as you can. And the other thing to remember is those air resources are only coming from Whiteman Airport. We're not a far throw. I mean, that's maybe a 7 or 8 minute flight for those aircraft to get here to be able to start putting water on this. So those aircraft are close when you're dealing with a fire like this. And yes, those initial moments make a big difference here when you're looking for all of this. And it looks like there's a small little pond. Oh, you know where I think they're dipping out of is that Disney Ranch that's up there. Ollie, just south of the 14 at Placerita Canyon Road is where the Chinook is taking water out of. So they're not going very far to get some of that water. It's a bit further south from where we're at, but they don't have to go terribly far to get the water there and bring it back. But look, I mean, it is starting to put up a little bit more smoke, Amy, I would say, than when we first came on the air.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's because it's burning up into that hillside here, and it's catching some of this fresh vegetation.
Yeah, there is a little more brush up in that area farther away from those homes. And it's interesting. I was just going to ask you where they were getting the water, because it seems like they're doing a quick turnaround with the Chinook coming in and dropping more water. We've seen it rather quick.
Yeah, and it looks like, now that I'm looking at this too, it looks like there's Copter 22, LA County Fire. It looks like they have a heli-spot set up just off Newhall Ranch Road. Newhall Ranch Road and Santa Clarita Parkway. Actually, I think just to Oliver, right off your 3 o'clock is where they are. Is where they're getting their water from. But, you know, as we kind of look at that smoke, and I think we said, did we want to bring in Alex to talk about some of the weather conditions up there? Yeah, Alex Biston joining us now. Alex, the humidity is fairly high for a hot day like this, right?
Well, you know, we have relative humidity values right now around 25%. So in some areas it is drier. And of course, we have that red flag warning in effect, not necessarily in this area, but in our mountain communities out toward Ventura County. But we're looking at winds out of the southwest right now, about 15 miles per hour. So yes, not necessarily gusty to the extent of causing major issues. So I guess that is the good news. And again, they are getting a good handle on this. But as far as our weather conditions, it is breezy. I mean, and this is the time of the day that we start to see those winds kick up. It's the afternoon, the early evening hours, and then the winds will subside as we head into around sundown this evening. So we've got sustained winds around 15 miles per hour. Some areas gusting between about 20 to about 22 miles per hour. So we do have some wind in the mix. And again, that red flag warning, so the high fire danger. And typically when these are issued, we see those relative humidity values down into about the single digits, the teens. So that's up in our mountain communities, again, up through Ventura County. But it's hot out there. I mean, we've been talking about temperatures into the triple digits in, of course, this area in Santa Clarita, looking at triple digit temperatures this afternoon. So it is hot and it is dry out there as well. And you just get a little bit of wind and then, of course, things start to kick up. So once we go into this evening, you can see by around 8 o'clock tonight, those winds will relax significantly. So any wind that we have now is expected to really die down. That is the good news, and they'll be able to continue to get a handle on this. But then, of course, like in the afternoon hours, tomorrow afternoon, we'll see those winds start to ramp up again around 2, 3 o'clock and then continue through around sundown. And we'll see that here on our wind futurecast again, as those winds will be out of the southwest. So we've got that onshore breeze. And then typically when we talk about the offshore breeze, which is something, again, we don't have necessarily right now, but that really dries everything out. When we talk about Santa Ana winds, that's when we start to see those humidity values down into about the single digits. So next 4 hours, Santa Clarita, again, we've got triple digit temperatures. Boy, it's hot out there. Temperatures back to the high 90s as we go into to around 6 o'clock this evening, 7 o'clock this evening. But of course, the wind is really one of the biggest factors. And that's something we'll continue to watch over the next, few hours.
Alex, are we expecting a change in the wind conditions at all?
Well, we will see those winds relax as far as the shift in the wind direction, not necessarily. I mean, we've got those southwest winds. And typically by the afternoon, I'm going to pull up this wind map again. We see the winds shift somewhat out of the south as we go into the overnight hours. But again, we're not really going to see those winds out of the northeast, that Santa Ana wind pattern that we see that really dries everything out. So that's, I guess you could say that's good news, right? And we have the red flag warning. So there is some high fire danger here in our area, but that expires early tomorrow morning. So we will see improving conditions as we go into the second half of the week.
Okay, well, I guess that is the best news, is that, from triple digits down into the 90s, which again is great. And knowing that this is one of the hottest days of the year so far. And, fortunately, the wind is relatively calm, and we're watching as another water drop happens right now. And we've seen a number of those happen since this fire started right about 1 hour ago now.
Yeah, just thinking how it may have started, Amy, I'm thinking Mike was showing us all those basic fire roads that were cut there into the hillside. I wonder if those fire roads are used by bicyclists, motorbikes. It might have, sparked this fire. Mike, what do you think? I see you shaking your head there.
Yeah, and I wanted to, Ollie, if you can pull out just a little bit, because I wanted to see, sometimes we can tell where the ignition point of a fire is based on, they usually will tape it off with some caution tape. So it looked to me like if you go all the way to the right there, Oliver, and then kind of in right where that warehouse is, right in there, it looked like that was maybe the initial fire response. You see all those fire crews that are kind of there first. So it almost looks like right on that road where that first truck is, that ladder truck there, Ollie, where that little access road goes into the business there. I'm wondering if somewhere in here is where our ignition point was, because again, this appears to be the dispatch address. So this is where the 911 was first called. and then you've got some of the fire here, and it kind of looks like that's how it would move. The wind, is kind of pushing that way, and then it looks like it just kind of quickly shot over to the left side of the screen here, and then kind of followed in that way. So I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere in this area is where the fire started, and then it is pushed all the way through. But look, you do see some of the fire roads there, but even in that scenario, it burned on the other side of the fire road. So sometimes they help, sometimes they don't. You look at it right here, and it looks like the little roads here have helped at least somewhat. And there you've got Dozer 8 from LA County Fire. When watch that, that's kind of cool because all they do is just go push dirt on top of the fire. And the flames go away.
So it stamps it out.
And stamps it out. So it's doing two things. It's stamping out the fire, but then it's also clearing the vegetation away from the flames to prevent further work by the flames. And they're going to get out of the way here. That's why the dozer moved, because here comes the fire copter, to be able to drop some water on that side as well.
This is such hard work.
Oh,
when you see the dozer and just how slow everything moves, and you have such incredibly large equipment here. And the fire can sometimes just overwhelm everyone.
Yeah, and you've got those hand crews down there. And I mean, and Alex has pointed out, it is hot up there. And doing all of this work, I mean, that's why, there's a whole division set up. I believe it's called, well, I don't know if in wildfires, it's generally called RIC, which is just kind of a firefighter safety branch of the response here. So they've got, air and water to make sure they can rehab people and get them back and forth, and, make sure you don't have any firefighter emergencies while you're fighting the fire.
Yeah, and what an excellent water drop, that we just witnessed. And when you see those crews down there on the ground with that equipment, they're, trying to pull those, those are large, heavy fire hoses that they are pulling, and it is hot. They've got on that hot gear. And, you were saying, Juan, this is extremely hard work out there.
Definitely a lot of hard work. And Mike, the amount of firefighters on the ground there, just incredible. Do we know, what type of maybe alarm or what type of response we're seeing here?
So right now, the LA County doesn't necessarily do it like an alarm system like that, but let me tell you, let me just kind of look at the response here and see what they've got going on. I mean, they are, I guess, kind of listing it as a 2-alarm fire, but you've got, OES, which is the State Fire Service, Office of Emergency Services. You've got some of those engines out here. I can tell you the camp crews, which is the guys that are doing the work there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 camp crews assigned to this. And I believe each camp crew is about 10 to 12 people.
Are camp crews the prisoners?
No. They're just the ones that are very strictly wildfire response. So they're the ones that are, you have firefighters that'll get up in here too, but these guys are the ones that have the pickaxes and the chainsaws and everything like that to cut away vegetation to try to, really get in there. Hey, Ollie, and I can't tell, can you see what those are on the left there, those boxes? At first I thought they were like cars or something, but
beehives maybe?
I can't tell what they are. Obviously nobody seems very concerned about them, but that's the second time I've seen, that's what Oliver thinks too, beehives.
Beehives, right? Yeah. That's what I thought when I saw the white color and just the shape of the box.
Yeah, that's kind of
interesting.
And
on top of a hillside too, right?
Yeah. I've seen those, there's another spot that those are in too, which is interesting.
Yeah, but we were watching this fire when it was so close to the homes, and from certain angles, it almost looked as if, the fire was all out, but we see from this angle, there is still a lot of fire left that these crews are battling.
And a lot of brush there too, Amy. Look there in the center of your screen there, quite a bit of brush to burn. And the good news is, Mike, that it's farther and farther from those homes, from that neighborhood on the right side of the screen.
And that's kind of the pattern we have been seeing. On the right side of your screen is my computer here, where you're going to actually see the voluntary evacuations that are in place. Oh, no, it's not my screen. It's someone else's screen. But anyway, those are the voluntary evacuations. You see, though, to your point, Juan, we had seen here the homes, and Ollie, if you can push in, those sets of homes that are right there, that is where we were showing you that video from earlier, and look, you can see the char marks of just how close the flames got to some of these homes. And while we were on the air, we watched a car, kind of race in, and 4 people got out of the car, bolted inside their home. It looked like they were trying to get what they can and get out of there before anything else happens. And again, it's only voluntary evacuations at this point, but at some point those flames were incredibly close. Now, I think this is my computer. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So the homes that you're looking at here on the screen are kind of in this, let's see, I think it's in this subdivision right here. Commuter, is that, Ollie, give me a street there. Is that Commuter Way? We'll look at it really quickly, but I just kind of want to show you the area that they're looking in here. Yeah. So yeah, and a lot of the houses with, Okay, yeah. So yeah, all kind of in this area. That's, yeah, Center Point Parkway. Those are these neighborhoods right here. Those are the ones that we've been looking at on the screen. So you can understand why they're involuntary. But just on the other side of Soledad Canyon, which is this area right here on Moveo, that's not under an evacuation warning at all. So Soledad is kind of the splitting point here. And there's the Chinook that's going to come in and make another water drop on this. And we'll look and see. I know there was I thought I saw another one coming out of the Antelope Valley, but maybe it's not going to come join the party. Right now they've got 3 of them though. They've got 2 of the Firehawks and the Chinook that are here doing the work on this.
Another excellent water drop.
Yeah.
Now, you're calling this the Pointe Fire. Is that a road or somewhere in that area, Mike?
Yeah, and that's Center Point Parkway. Is where it started. That was the dispatch location. So Point, my guess, is coming from Center Point Parkway. And I'm going to look here and see exactly. So Center Point Parkway and Ferry Court was the reported, was where the 911 call came in from. So yeah, kind of right in there, just to the west of Golden Valley Road. And on the right side of your screen, again, is those neighbors that were kind of racing through that community to try to get out of there and and get their things while they could. And you can see the towering flames behind the homes there.
Yeah, so close. And so often, Mike, we will hear the person that calls in that 911 call often mention something that they've seen, whether it was there was work being done in the area, or somebody on a motorcycle, or someone doing yard work. Have you heard anything like that from that 911 call?
We've not yet. We're working with the fire department to try to get that under control. I'm looking at some new video here, and I'll have to try to figure out where this is, but it looks like a preschool or a daycare, something like that was evacuated at some point as well. I don't want to show you the video because there's lots of kids running around through it, so we're going to be careful with that. But I'll try to figure out what's in that area that may have been some sort of child care facility that had to get evacuated.
Well, if anyone knows something, they could text to the desk, right, Mike?
Yeah, 818-221-2222. If you know what's going on up there, have any pictures, any information you want to share with us, that it will come right to me here and we'll take a look at it.
We'll take a look at it, put it on the air, and share it with our viewers, because this fire is continuing to burn here at the almost 3 o'clock hour here. It's happening and burning in Santa Clarita. It's called the Pointe Fire. The ignition point was Center Point Parkway, so that's why they've called it the Pointe Fire. And as you can see here, a large presence of firefighters on the ground, and also that Chinook water dropping helicopter doing some really great work there. And Amy, we see lots of white smoke. We always think that's great news, but we're also seeing still quite a bit of flames burning.
Exactly, and as you were talking about the Pointe Fire, this started at about 1:40, so we're looking at about an hour and 10 minutes for this fire that was reported. We saw so many flames out there, those water drops really getting a large part of this fire under control, but that fire is not out. We can still see plenty of flames there on this little, I guess that's a fire road there where we see the fire truck there. And, we've seen ground crews out there. We've also had those water drops that are really making a huge difference. And we've been talking about it being the hottest day of the year, really, so far.
So warm.
A tough day to be out there fighting a fire.
And Juan and Amy, I want to ask Oliver, if he can, to go to Center Point Parkway and Golden Triangle Road. That's where we were looking at some of the video. And again, there's some children's faces in there, so I don't want to show it to you. But there is a children's academy there, Notre Dame's Children's Academy, and Creative Years Infant Center and Preschool that were both in that area. So you'll be able to see it. It's going to be up and to your left, Ollie. It's those brown roofs all the way up and straight in, up a little bit further, up and to the right. Further up and to the right. That also looks like some sort of school facility, but the preschools that we were looking at right there at the top of your screen. Yep. So those ones right there, you see the blue shade structures out back. Those were some of the preschools.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, those were the preschools that we saw kids getting evacuated out of. So, I mean, of course, that was the right move. But you see that was maybe a little bit further from the flames. But certainly, again, they were seeing what so many other people were seeing, which was those super tall flame lengths and, obviously the heavy smoke in the area. So they got those kids out of there.
What's the name of the academies again?
There's a couple there. It looks like Creative Years Infant Center and Preschool, and then the other one is Notre Dame Children's Academy.
Children's Academy.
And then the other one that Oliver was looking at was Bowman High School. That was that one with kind of the purple roofs, right here. So I don't know, they're probably not in session at this point because it's still July. But the younger kids certainly were there. We saw them being evacuated.
Yeah.
Smart thing to do.
Yeah,
in
for
case
sure.
they need to get those kids moving, or if things change from a voluntary evacuation to a mandatory evacuation. So far, that hasn't changed, Mike, right? With the
Correct. Yeah, I'm
neighborhoods.
looking at the map again, and that has not changed. And at the rate that we're at with the way that the fire is burning, the fire is kind of burning to the south now. So unless something significantly changes and it burns back on itself, I don't think that we'll see any kind of mandatory evacuations. And Vinny, if you can pull my computer up here one more time, I just want to show people kind of where our next set of homes that you're going to deal with are. They're far. I mean, this fire would have to chew through a lot. So, the fire, this is where that preschool was we were just talking about. The high school's right here. The fire at this point is kind of back in this area. So your next set of homes, it was like all the way over here off Via Princesa. Other than that, I mean, you've got something over here. But there's a lot of area that it would have to push through before it would be able to make it to the next set of homes. And then if it went, straight south, there's, you're all the way down here before that. So hopefully they'll be able to, kind of wrap this up before there's any of that concern. But again, you see the voluntary evacuation going from here, Soledad Canyon to the north, Golden Valley Road here on the east, and then again, kind of the mountain area. It's that Carl Boyer evacuation zone is what it's called.
Yeah,
right
it looks
now.
like it's being contained somewhat, right,
Yeah.
Mike? Kept in this area here away from homes. And that's what we want to see on this very hot day. We knew it was going to get hot, the hottest day this week. And we're not going to see any cooler conditions till the weekend. So the next couple of days are vital. We need to be very careful, make sure that if you're out there amongst areas that are very dry and brittle, to be very careful with whether it's throwing a cigarette out the window or riding a motorcycle that may backfire, even using a lawnmower or anything like that that could spark
And
a fire.
you know what LAFD has been warning people about too frequently is the renovation work. People have been doing a lot of work on their homes. That happens in the spring and the summers, and then you have a lot of fires. It's more common with house fires, but still it's the same kind of thought process here is when you're doing all kinds of any kind of renovation work, whether it be yard work with any kind of mower or things like that. If it hits a rock and creates a spark, I mean, all of that is what happens very quickly. Right side of your screens earlier. Look, this is the video I was telling you about when those people ran out of their cars and ran inside. So that's from a bit earlier. You can just see kind of like the desperation of people to try to, really get in there and try to get some of their belongings before this fire got any closer. At this point, thankfully, there has been no structure, no structures impacted, no structures burned. They've had structure defense in place for a significant period of time, and they've been able to do a really good job of that. And we even saw some of those engines really right back up there in the neighborhood that they were able to kind of get that under control. So this is video from a bit earlier. We want to be clear with our viewers on that. I think we're switching our chopper to a different mountaintop. So we just want people to know that. But this is still a very active fire that is still kind of pushing through here in the Santa Clarita area. Back to my computer here, where you can see this. Again, the fire kind of in this back area right here behind Center Point Parkway. And at this point, it is burning to the south. Now, it's kind of staying within this area here. It really hasn't made it to this next neighborhood Via Princesa, back live on the left-hand side of your screen, where you can see the flames burning at this point. And again, it's that very low-lying vegetation. It's not so much the flashy fuels. It's not necessarily the grass, but it's a lot of kind of bushes and things like that are burning. So they do tend to burn for a little longer than just the grass fires. When we have the grass fires, it covers a lot of land, but really quickly, and then it's kind of out. So these will burn for a bit longer than some of the grass will, but again, it's still a lot of that very dry vegetation that's out there.
Mike, the map you had up earlier showed a 100-degree temperature in that area there, so you can just imagine how hot it is. And going back to that video we saw of the family running in, I mean, it almost seems we talk about it all the time when we have natural disasters for families to have go kits ready, a plan ready. It seemed like this family knew exactly what to do. They all did not waste time. They ran inside the house almost like everyone had a task to do and accomplish, grab what they needed to do and run back to the car. Even that dad ran back and closed the car door to make sure that they wouldn't get any smoke inside the van if they had to. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is very impressive, and it's very tough because you come back out and go to Soledad Canyon. It's on the left side of your screen there, where you'll see that the sheriff's department has closed that road. The train tracks have been closed, so no one's getting in right here. So if you're at work and don't live in the Santa Clarita Valley and had to come back into the Santa Clarita Valley, you're not going to get through on Soledad Canyon. There is traffic coming on the southbound side, but I think even if you go all the way to the north there at the intersection, I think they've got that closed as well. So they do this to be able to get some of these firefighter apparatus in here, and there you see some of them. Here come the dozers. There's another dozer that they'll flip around and take up there. But roads crews have this road closed to be able to have access for these fire crews, and that, of course, makes it hard for people who want to come in and try to get some of their stuff and get out of here. And then if we go back towards the fire, Ollie, on the top side of the fire, there's a main road up there too that I believe they've also closed as a part of this. So yeah, that road up right there to the kind of just the top of the fire. So it's an issue. I mean, people want to get in there and get their stuff. Unfortunately, though, the fire department needs to be able to kind of get in there and do their work, so the access roads are going to be closed.
It's good to see, Mike, that the fire crews are being so aggressive. I wonder if these are lessons learned from the Palisades and Eaton fires, when so many people thought that maybe there weren't enough resources in their community. I mean, this is, of course, not a big a fire, but incredible just the amount of ground crews, the air support, bulldozers coming in. I mean, even though it's starting to look okay, they are not, pulling back. They're going to make sure that everything is out before they leave the area.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I will say this is just from an observation perspective. This is not necessarily database, but on an observation perspective, I will say that since the Palisades and Eaton fire, it does feel like every fire gets everything thrown at it. There is no more, we'll call it when we need it. You get a little flare up right there, but there is no more, we'll call it when we need it. It's send everything, send it always, send it now, and get as much as we can on these fires at immediately as soon as they get called out.
And for families and business owners, it's important to see that, right? To make sure that the fire crews are out there, that they're doing the best they can to save their homes, especially after what we saw not too long ago in the Palisades and in Altadena, right?
And as we are approaching the 3 o'clock hour, we want to update you. We are following breaking news. This is a live look at the Pointe Fire that has some evacuation warnings that have been issued. We've seen this fire get very close to homes. It started right about 1:40 this afternoon in Santa Clarita, and we've been watching this firefight with water dropping helicopters as well as ground troops there on the ground working to get this fire out, and as well as those bulldozers that were being used to just kind of put that dirt on the fire.
And at last check, I think it was 33 acres that had burned.
I think our latest number, I think, is 48.
48. Oh, wow. So that's grown by about
12,
15 acres.
Yeah, exactly.
12 to 15 acres,
So we've got we've still got the Chinook, we've got the LA County Fire Firehawk there. Another Firehawk is coming from Whiteman, and another Chinook is coming from Lancaster. So you're going to get, I mean, there's just so much water, especially in those Chinooks. So hopefully they'll knock out some of these last little bits. But look at the left side of your screen there. That's some of that lower like dead grass that we were talking about that it chews through pretty quickly. So you've got those hand crews there. They're doing a pretty good job. You get some like marshland that it's surrounding right now. So hopefully some of that's wet. That'll help them as well.
Mike, and you mentioned that Disney studio or ranch that they have out there. They also have some sort of lake or water source that these helicopters are dipping into.
So that's what it looks like. And I want to ask, at some point I'll ask Oliver to look over there, but the problem is it's a decent distance from the fire, so I don't want to go too far from it.
Right.
Yeah, so LA County Fire, they've got a heli spot that they're pulling out of, which is just right off, it's much closer. It's right off Newhall Ranch Road and Santa Clarita Parkway on the north side of the fire. And so that's where you see, I think Oliver was just showing us one of the helicopters. That's where they're going back in to get water. Yeah, right under your screen. Let's see, where is it? Yep. Oh, here comes a Chinook there at the bottom of the screen. So yeah, I mean, but it looks like the Chinooks are pulling out of the Disney Ranch there. There must be a little body of water they're able to dip out of.
Incredible. And I know a lot of these businesses, right, and studios do allow firefighters to use their water sources when needed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and these things take a lot of water to fill up in, and as you can see right there. So it's a lot of water, but they fill pretty quickly. I mean, they hold a lot of water, but they can get, I was up in SkyCal a couple Sundays ago, and we had a fire in the Santa Fe Dam, and it's just remarkable how quickly they can, hover over a lake and suck all that water up and get on their way and turn around. It's a very quick turnaround time.
So far, we haven't seen any fire retardant, right?
No fixed wings yet. I've been looking for that to see if anyone's going to come join the party, but at this point, I don't see any fixed wings even up on the radar. So they may just be content with letting the helicopters kind of handle this one and not pull out the fixed wings yet. But yeah, I don't see any on the radar yet. I'll let you know if that changes though.
Yeah, but we have certainly seen how quickly they are turning these helicopters around and getting that water on this fire and really making a big impact for a fire that, again, started right about 1:40 this afternoon, burned very close to homes. And as we've been talking about, it's been all voluntary evacuation, but now evacuation warnings that we want to say. They weren't mandatory, just evacuation warnings.
And those warnings I'm taking is get ready just in case. They may be they may be imminent in case something should change. Alex was talking earlier about how winds are going to definitely change as we see the sunset, sun goes down, those sundowner winds, the winds could pick up. As long as these fire crews, look at this bulldozer again, Mike, stamping out those flames, as long as they can get to these heaviest of flames before the winds pick up, they should be getting the upper hand shortly, right?
Yeah, and I want Oliver to show us, zoom out and show us the totality of the fire here, because just, I would say, in the last 15, 20 minutes, it's looking significantly better. I mean, we're kind of at the point here where you've got some, almost wispy smoke.
Yeah.
And at this point, they're just dealing with some of these pockets now, but the bulk of the fire is certainly, we don't see hardly any flames left anymore. So that's obviously very encouraging news, and it's because of a very hard fight by the LA County fire crews that have been down there. But as you look at the totality of the fire, it's looking much, much better than it was.
It really is. And we, as you mentioned, you have to kind of look very closely there, just trying to find some flames that are still left on this fire. But we do know that they will make sure that this is completely out, nothing smoldering, nothing burning anywhere in the area before these crews leave this area. But you can see there, right there in the center of your screen, there is some flame right there next to that bulldozer, and they are trying to use that to put out this fire in this area.
And as Mike was telling us earlier, they're basically just going to scoop a lot of dirt and sand and smother the flames out there. Earlier, Alex was mentioning the red flag warnings. Those are in effect for the high fire danger until tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning. So today into the evening hours, into the early morning hours, these red flag warnings. Look at that. Bulldozer and some aerial crews on that one, Mike.
Yeah. And just as to Amy's point too, I mean, they'll have, even once the flames are out, they'll have what's called fire watch. I mean, there's going to be fire crews out here for the next 24 hours, if not longer, just, monitoring for any of these hot spots. I do believe there was, let me see if it's still there. At one point, oh no, there's a mapping. So they've got what's called Helco. It's a helicopter that's up at 6,000 feet that can do some really good mapping. They've got some infrared in there as well to be able to see if there's any hot spots left.
That one little patch of flame there is being a little stubborn too, right? I mean, the bulldozer kind of pulled away, the helicopter came in, and the flame's still going.
Yeah, and then you've got another one. I mean, one of the Chinooks is coming in, one of the other ones is getting water right now. So, I'm very confident that this will not be an issue much longer, and it's already looking significantly better.
Which I'm sure is a big relief to the people that live in the area where that fire got so close right behind their homes. And we did see at least one group come in and run out and try to get things from the home. We can only imagine that a lot of people were at work and, leaving their pets inside because of the heat. So the pets were in the house. They want to rush there, get the pets, get maybe even some kids and clothes and, mementos out of the home. And, fortunately, these crews were so quick. Those water drops were happening so fast. They were able to knock out that part of the fire that was so close to the homes. Now we still see there's still a fire burning. We're watching it right now while this bulldozer is doing some work there and trying to get this under control. We watch, and as we see, once they start backing up, we know that that is the sign that the water drop is about to come. So,
this particular area being very, very stubborn, Amy. And earlier you had mentioned children in the area. Mike was telling us Notre Dame Children's Academy and Creative Years were evacuated earlier today because of just the uncertainty of what could happen. Of course, these are young kids that were in school at the time, and also Bowman High School is also in the area there. No word whether or not the high school was evacuated, right, Mike? But the kids' academies, the younger kids, definitely were sent home, right?
Right, and I don't know that school has anybody in it because it is a district high school, so they haven't. Summer vacation for them. I don't think they start for a little while, so there's probably nobody in the school at that point.
But the academies are almost like a daycare center,
right.
Too,
It's like preschool, younger kids,
year round.
Right. Yeah, so that's exactly why those were evacuated. So, things are looking a ton better than they were. We're just dealing with a couple of stubborn pockets at this point.
Yeah, look at that. You can see there's the flames right in the middle near the beehives that we were seeing earlier.
And I think a helicopter may be coming in here in just a second too. I see it on the radar. So We'll see. Usually, like as you guys noted,
Yeah.
we usually kind of see the dozer back off when the airdrop's coming. Oh, there he is, top of the screen.
And this may be maybe the last attempt to snuff out the flames that are burning in this very stubborn patch of brush, right?
Yeah, they've still got. I mean, the Chinook is coming in behind too. So
Let's see.
We'll see if the Chinook drops now. Yeah, and here comes who is this? Copter 22.
Oof, that's a lot of water.
Oh no, the bees. Yeah, that is a lot of water, but look, it was pretty effective.
It was effective, yeah. And
Very.
the dozer is right there behind it to keep doing the job so it doesn't flare up again.
Yeah, and here's the Chinook. You see the shadow of it.
Yeah.
We'll see where he ends up dropping. There we go. So that's kind of where we're at right now. I mean, you have the very large capacity helicopters that are going to come in and drop kind of on the perimeters of these fires and make sure that the line will hold and that it's not going to extend into any further brush. But I mean, we're hard pressed to find a flame at this point.
I was going to say, hard to find any flame burning right now, Mike. Those last two water drops really did the job. And you mentioned that wispy white smoke. That's what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, certainly much, much better than when we first came on the air here this afternoon. And, you know, the voluntary evacuations are still in place, but as you can see, there is no active flame near any of those homes. And even the active flame that we are able to find is pretty far back in the area. This is the first time, really, truly, we've gotten a very good look without the smoke, too, of the homes. So you can see those kind of first responding engines that came in here to these. I can't tell if these are townhomes or exactly what these are, but you know, they came in here and we're doing some good work right on the fences. And man, look how close.
Yeah.
You see when you look at the char marks, just how close some of those flames came to these homes.
Well, these homeowners must be very grateful, right? You have the fire crews right there in front of their homes on their street, and they were able to stop the flames from, you know, it basically crested the top of the hillside there, but didn't make it too far down.
Yeah, and you see those yellow fire, the brush apparatus there, that brush truck. That's the OES ones. Those are the Office of Emergency Services. So the governor's office has really staffed up their brush rigs this summer. So they'll you know, come in and be a part of the local fire department that is responding. So they're positioned all over the region, and then they are staffed by Cal OES members. The state pays for it, and they bring in these brush trucks to be an extra hand.
Yeah, and I mean, this is just such a fine example of the work that's been done out there. And I mean, really taking good care of this fire. I mean, it's only been about an hour and less than an hour and a half.
Yeah,
That this fire
1:40
started.
was the start time.
1:40, yep, in Santa Clarita, the Pointe Fire. And we're watching as there's just one little patch there. We can see just one little stubborn patch. And I'm sure that they will be making the next drop in that area to try to take care of all of this fire so that it is out as quickly as possible.
And we do see a little bit of flame there, Mike, but not as much as we saw earlier. And it just seems to be that stubborn patch of heavier brush that, as you were saying, it's not like grass that burns quickly, but it kind of the flames kind of stick around for a bit.
Yeah, it burns for a little longer, and then there is also you know, the issue of the topography. It's catching the hillside just right to be able to kind of push it up, and there you see it right there. So yeah, again, there's just so many aircraft on this fire that I don't imagine we'll be seeing that flame much longer.
Yeah, but as we say it, we see a little bit of a breeze. It looks like picking it up a little bit, but we do know that they are very much aware of this area. We've been watching the drops happen.
Wow, look at that.
It is flaring up right in this area there.
And
Mike.
that's where you see that kind of that dry grass, the brown stuff that it really jumps into and can catch very quickly and move on very quickly. But it does. I mean, that's, you know, that can obviously spread. So they'll get another water drop here in a second, and it'll hopefully, you know, be done with that little spot.
Yeah, we talked about resources. We know there's plenty on the ground and in the air, Mike. The good news is you're not hearing of additional resources heading to the area. Is that right?
That's
yeah.
I mean,
more headed?
Let me look at the dispatch call here again. They're let's see where to go. I've not seen a ton more get added to this. I mean, maybe like a water tender or a transportation unit. That's the ones that bring in the dozers. There's a public information officer that's on its way too, but you know, there's not a large set of additional crews that are coming. And I think the other thing too is the fact that we never saw and are not currently seeing any fixed wing operations. I think that's a big indicator of how they feel about the fires. If they want to bring in, fire or retardant dropping helicopters, fixed wing rather, that gives you an indication that they're a little bit more worried. But I think the fact that they're comfortable handling it with 4 helicopters is a pretty good indication. And look, they've done a great job with it. I mean, it's been burning for a while, but they were successfully able to get away from homes. Here comes another drop. Oh, yeah, I probably wanted to wait till get those crews out of there. Yeah. Well, that's what's kind of hard is there's such a coordination on the ground and in the air because they're not going to drop all that water on their crews, right? So he probably would have loved to drop it right there on the right, but you had the dozer and the hand crews that were probably a little bit closer than he would have liked. But here's Ollie, pull out and tilt down just a little bit because you've got a brush truck that's coming right there, that right straight in on that like kind of T road. So hopefully he's got some water with him, and they can and try to put some water on the ground with it if he is able to get over there. I don't think he has any water on it actually. I couldn't tell if that was actually a brush rugger or just a patrol rig. But yeah, I mean, ideally if they could have some groundwater on it as well, that'd be great. But the helicopters are going to do a fine job, and there's a Chinook somewhere in the area there he is. That's coming in right now as well.
And the good news, Mike, when you look at all those fire roads, just how much access fire crews do have to get into this area. Helicopters, air resources are so vital, but the fact that you can get boots on the ground, get as close as you can, I mean, this is really helpful for areas where you don't see as well out a carved out fire road. Yeah,
I mean, this is obviously these kind of back roads here are very well traversed. I mean, there's a lot of different roads that are back here, and let's not forget too, LA County now has 2 permanent Chinooks here. Because Orange County got rid of their program and decided they didn't want to do the program with the fast response and the Chinooks and all of those things down in Orange County. So when Orange County let that go, LA County scooped it up. And so now we have 2 Chinooks here. We have one based at Van Nuys and we have one based at Fox Field up in the Antelope Valley. So it puts us in a good position here when you've got 2 of those that are, responsible for Los Angeles County and so readily available.
And in the future, if Orange County did need help, I'm sure our mutual aid would kick in and we'd send the Chinook anyways, right?
It would be. Now, the difference is, and we talked about this when we did the story, but the difference is these are on what's called automatic dispatch. So somebody calls 911 in LA County, they report a brush fire, these get dispatched at the same time as the engines do. If something happens in Orange County and they want a Chinook, yes, there's mutual aid, but there is certainly a delay in getting that mutual aid. It doesn't come right away. You have to make the request through your emergency services office. That's got to come to LA County. LA County's got to approve the request and hope that we don't have any fires that we need our Chinooks for, and then you can get it to Orange County. So they think, one of the supervisors down there is comfortable that model will be fine for them. But up here, they scooped up the second Chinook, and now we've got both of them up here.
Is this where the bulk of the flames is right now?
Yeah, I think that's it, Ollie. When we pull out here, it just kind of chewing up that side of the hill right there. But I don't think if you go back to the right, there's nothing back over on the right side near those homes or anything. I think this is kind of the extent of it at this point.
And we are seeing more brush in that area as well. But they have really been making great progress on this fire, the Pointe Fire. And we are now seeing really the last little sections of that fire that they are still working on getting this out again by the air and ground crews that are there. We can still see those beehives in that background there, which is, something kind of interesting to see the fire burning so close to those. But fortunately, they've been able to keep the fire away from those beehives, which is certainly a good thing.
And we know beekeepers use smoke to basically control the hive when they need to get them to go away. So I'm guessing that this smoke may be confusing the bees a little bit too. So just something that and I'm thinking about,
for them to deal with, I can tell you, we got a text to the desk not too long ago from somebody who said her boyfriend lives right next to it, and you could just really see the smoke and the flames right at his back patio. So I'm going to work on making sure that this person's okay with us showing those photos, and if they are, I'll be sure to get them to you. But it's just very interesting, how quickly this can all change for somebody who's at home.
And they sent you some photos, Mike?
They did, yeah. I'm going to make sure they're okay with us showing them on TV, and then I'll give you that perspective and show you kind of how close they are.
Yeah, if you are in the area, text the desk. You see the number right there on your screen, 818-221-2222. Any questions you might have for Mike or for our desk, if you have pictures, questions, anything you'd like to share with us, video, right, Mike? We'll take it.
All of it, yeah. And somebody else, Brenda, says she can see all the helicopters. She sees some of the smoke. She says she takes care of her mom with dementia. They have 2 cats, so thankfully they're not too close. They don't have to evacuate. But it's tough for people that there's so many decisions that come into play when you're dealing with a fire that's so close to you.
And confusing for seniors, as this Brenda was saying, taking care of a parent with dementia.
Right.
Anything like that can be somewhat startling. So the good news is we're seeing more and more of these water drops being concentrated in this area here of thicker brush. The crews are right there, the dozers are right there, the water tenders are all right there, and we're hoping to see this get taken out very shortly, but there's still quite a bit of brush there to burn.
Yeah, and we did see video from earlier where that fire was really, really close to those homes. And so certainly we know how frightening it was for them to be dealing with this. In the middle of a hot summer afternoon, a lot of folks were at work trying to get home to their pets and different items in their home. But, firefighters were really able to knock out those flames that were close to the homes. And we're still seeing that they're still dealing with this part of the fire that is, again, as we've been mentioning, farther away from the homes. But this is a little stubborn patch that just doesn't want to give up at this point.
Indeed, and it looks like, Amy, we still see a lot of white smoke, wispy white smoke concentrated in this area there, surrounded by these fire roads. So that's definitely some good news here. See a teeny bit of a flare up right there on the kind of bottom of your screen. You see it right there. Yep, Oliver, that's it right there. A little bit of a flare up there. Yeah. And we're going to see this, right, Mike? We're going to see these little flare-ups possibly go into the evening. These crews are going to stay overnight to make sure that this doesn't happen. We've, of course, heard during the Palisades fire that fires can burn underground for a bit. And this is not what they want to happen in a case like this. And the fire seems to be picking up in that little spot there.
Yeah, and as soon as it hits some of these vegetation pockets, you'll see these kind of quick flare-ups, and then they'll hopefully go away pretty quickly. But it's going to be kind of this back and forth for a while until they can get all the active flame kind of dealt with.
Yes, and this is still some of that active flame that he's mentioning. You're seeing it here. This is pretty much the only area where there is still active flame. It's at the top of this area, that ridge. We often talk about how fires go up hillside much faster, and so we see that it is all kind of concentrated in this one area. But certainly water drops are happening. They've got water sources nearby, and the Chinook has been turning quickly to get right back into that firefight and make those water drops. And we also have crews, boots on the ground, that have been working, and the bulldozers that have also been working to get this fire out.
And 2 Chinooks at this point too are up there, up there working along with the 2 Firehawks from LA County Fire. So they're doing a really good job. And just as you see, I mean, as we mentioned, it's going to hit these kind of pockets of vegetation that are going to, cause some issues for them. And especially when we get kind of the flat areas here, you get a little bit of more of this kind of low-lying grass that can cause issues here. And that's kind of what they're contending with at this point. But again, there's enough resources there, and where the fire is burning is not in the risk of any kind of homes at this point. So, thankfully, even if they're not able to kind of, get the flames taken care of right away, they will be, they're not an immediate threat to anybody at this point.
And these fires kind of work a bit like brush abatement, right, Mike? It's like they burn the brush so that it goes away so they don't have to deal with it later in the future. So when we're seeing firefighters nearby, it looks like they're not doing anything. They're kind of watching it burn. They're very tentative to it, but it's also a great way to get rid of this brush.
Right, and sometimes there is a strategy. If there is no, imminent threat, do they want to let some of this burn so they don't deal with it in the future? Sometimes they do make that risk. I'm not saying that's necessarily what's happening in this moment, but there is there is sometimes where that's certainly a consideration that is made when you're working on some of these fires, and especially when you're in an area where there's not an immediate threat to the homes.
Yes, and an area that hasn't burned in recent years, so you've got a little bit more growth in that area, but it looks like, they've really done a great job.
Yeah,
but we haven't seen any water drops in the last couple of minutes, so it makes me wonder if they
let me see where they're
some
at.
Of this burn.
Looks like the Chinook's refueling. One of the Firehawks is refueling as well. So they are not refueling, I'm sorry, picking up some more water. So they maybe just be kind of getting some water. But there does get to a point where there's only so much fire for so many helicopters. Yeah. They'll start to release some resources and make sure people are ready to go for, for other things as needed here. So that may be what they're starting to, make some resource decisions here as well and figure out how they kind of want to handle all of that as this looks. And I just want to let the control room know I did just send some of those photos from our viewer that texted the desk. So once they come online, if we could show those, and it just really gives you a kind of a perspective of how close some of these flames were to people's homes that are up in that area. So those photos are coming online here in just a second. We'll be able to show them to you in an inset box. But the threat to that appears to have subsided. You can see the flames are pretty considerably away from where those homes were. There you go, right side of your screen. So this is somebody, these are photos that somebody texted us here at the desk. And again, if you'd like to do that, it's 818-221-2222. But this is a person whose boyfriend lives right in that area, right behind the homes. I'm sorry, the homes right behind the fire. So look at that. I mean, you can see that's from the backyard, and you can see the flame right there. So for a lot of people, this was very scary for a period of time.
You can see that wood fence too, Mike. That's kind of scary when you see flames getting so close. And a lot of these wood fences, they go right up to your home. We talked about this not too long ago when we had a special about protecting your home. Is a lot of times they want to make sure, have a wrought iron fence closest to the home, and the wood fence is far away because, of course, if these catch fire, they can burn right up to your home.
Yep.
Yep.
Certainly can. And we're watching in these pictures. I mean, I can only imagine, we watch it from afar, but when you are there and it is burning up to your house, how frightening it is, and the panic that sets in, and you start thinking about what you need to grab, what you need to take, what's the most important with, just minutes. And here's one of those water drops happening right now.
And you can really tell just the incredible amount of water these Chinooks can carry there. It's an incredible amount. And they're going to go get some more water right now. And it's interesting to see how it affects the smoke and what we see flame-wise in this area. And Mike, going back to the resources, it all depends on where the fire is burning too, right? If it's in an area fire crews on the ground can get to, they may let the helicopters go. But if it's on a cliff or it's somewhere that's dangerous for the fire crews, they may have to keep the helicopters back, right?
Yeah. They'll always kind of weigh, risk versus reward here, and what is the helicopter going to do? Because remember, the hand crews can do the work while the helicopters aren't there, but as soon as they bring in a drop, as we have seen, the hand crews and the dozers kind of have to get out of the way because the force of that water is intense when it comes out of a helicopter like that. So, they want to make sure they're not in the way. So at this point, though, they're not releasing anybody. They're keeping everybody assigned to it. Even all four aircraft are still assigned, the two Chinooks and the two Firehawks that have been on this, Copter 21, Copter 22, and then the two helitankers that have been working this fire since almost the beginning now. So they've done a really good job of being here and getting on this. And again, you've got some of these small pocket fires that are burning in some of this stubborn vegetation and the flashy fuels of the grass.
Yeah, and we just continue to watch this fire there on that ridge line there, and we see plenty of black smoke coming up from this area. We've been seeing a lot of white smoke, but we see some black smoke, so that is likely a sign that it is in a little bit more of that brush that is burning right now, something that might be a little more dense. But this just seems like a little stubborn fire, They've had so much of it out for a good little while, and now it just can't get this last little section out.
Probably on the cooler side of the hillside where it doesn't get too much sun during the evening hours, and then you see this brush it doesn't just die off and dry off as quickly as maybe other areas would. And that bulldozer is definitely doing the best it can there to cut a fire line before the fire can continue moving. Because just above the dozer, Amy, you can see just how much more brush is out there. And look at this.
Water drop.
Water drop, even with the bulldozer in the area. And that did a pretty good job there.
Yeah, excellent job. We've seen some really, really good firefighting happening throughout this fire that's been burning since 1:40 this afternoon. That's when the first calls came in about the Pointe Fire. And last that we heard, it was at 48 acres. I'm guessing that Mike is going to have an update for us on how much has actually burned.
I think we're at like 52 at this point.
Okay.
So it's
not growing.
No, it's every time we talk about an update, it's
fast,
getting smaller here. So that is obviously, of course, the ideal situation here is that when it does have growth, the growth is getting smaller and smaller each time.
And again, one of the hottest days of the week, very warm temperatures. We know that. Humidity wasn't a big problem. Alex was telling us about that earlier. We still saw it in the double digits, but in this case, we're looking at something that may or may not be a man-made fire, but that quickly grew due to just how hot things are. The brush is something that was, in abundance here in the Santa Clarita area. But once that 911 call took place, an incredible amount of fire resources headed to the area here. And we have seen them at work over the last hour or so here on CBS LA as we continue following the Pointe Fire burning in the Santa Clarita area. And it looks like, Amy, it's going to hit another pretty big area there of brush that may catch fire. But those crews, as Mike was saying, not going to be pulling back anytime soon. Those ground crews are still there. You can see just how tiny the firefighters look like next to those flames, and also the air resources are going to keep doing the best they can to snuff out these flames.
Yes, and we can see, you know, there's a little section on each side of your screen there, a patch of, you know, flames over there on the right side, also on the left side. So it's certainly, you know, very stubborn, has not, you know, laid down just yet. So fire crews will continue to battle this fire and, you know, really try to get a handle on it and make sure it is completely out before they are done. Another chopper coming in right now, and, you know, they've really made good use of all of the helicopters today. But Mike was telling us there were no fixed wings. We have not been seeing retardant dropped. We've just been seeing water drops where they are getting that water from a nearby area. I believe you said it was the Disney Ranch. Is that what?
Yeah, that's where the Chinooks are pulling out of, and then the Firehawks are. There's a heli-spot set up just north of Newhall Ranch Road.
You know, the good news is here, no homes damaged or burned, no
injuries.
outbuildings burned. Even those beehives we saw there that probably was as closest to the flames as we saw, those seem to be doing just fine there. As far as we know, no firefighters injured as well. Mike, you would hear those radio calls if they need help for the firefighters.
Yeah,
right?
we would hear that. Haven't heard any of that so far. You know, I'm sure they're well aware of the heat. They're well aware of all of that, and they are trying to make sure people are, you know, coming on and off the lines as needed, getting water, doing various things like that to make sure that they are not overexerting themselves on such a incredibly hot day. I can only imagine how much worse it is standing next to a fire.
Just another reason we all have to make sure to hydrate, make sure we have water with us. Just imagine those firefighters with the heavy equipment on, battling the flames and you know, making sure that they're well taken care of here. So,
and really quickly, I just wanted to point out on the right side of your screen, that's some new video we got in of them doing that work next to the homes. And it just reiterates our point of at the start of this fire, how close these flames were to those homes that were burning in that area. So I just wanted to show you some of that, and you can see the home there and the relation to the flames. I mean, you would imagine how scary that is for some people.
Incredible. Again, this is the Pointe Fire. Broke out at around 1:40 this afternoon in the Santa Clarita area. 52 acres have burned so far. Evacuations were happening for a bit, but as far as we know, they were just voluntary. For now, evacuation warnings, though, they were in place.
And we, of course, are going to stay on top of this and bring you the very latest at 4 o'clock.